Josh Mafia. We are back with another video. Reaction video as that.
Yes, Lord.
Indeed, we are. But today, we are reacting to how good was Steve Nash actually. You feel me? I know how good Steve Nash was. You feel me? But let me know your favorite player down below in the comments. If other than that, make sure you're liking the video and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. And make sure everybody locked in my channel, even past need to be locked in. Grab your food, your snacks, your beverage, and all sorts things of that. But this video is only 12 minutes. It might be 13, 14, etc. You feel me? But we finna get into it, how good Steve Nash was. I know how good he was, but I don't really see everything about him. You feel me? But I might have like missed some things. You feel me? But we gonna get into it and we finna see how good Steve Nash was. But let's get into it.
He passed like magic, shot like Curry, and has more MVPs than Shaq and Kobe.
One of the most
He shot like Curry. I know I'm only 5 seconds in, but what's y'all opinion on that? I need to know down below. Yes, Lord, how you doing? Get into it.
selfish people. It was never about him.
He revolutionized the way a point guard plays the game.
He's one of the best point guards we've ever had.
But did Steve Nash really deserve those MVPs? Was he really as good as his highlights?
Nice passing. Nice passing. He can smack that thing.
This is the story.
Nice lay. Nice lay.
He was born in South Africa, but raised in Canada, where he played soccer, basketball, and hockey. So the chances of Steve becoming a basketball player were virtually 0%. While his dad John played soccer professionally, and his mom Jean played pro netball, they never forced Steve into sports, especially not basketball, which Steve first started playing at 12 years old. But even being the MVP of his youth soccer league, immediately after he picked up basketball, Steve was hooked. I remember watching Steve from inside our house while he was shooting hundreds of free throws in the pouring rain. I never worked that hard, said his younger brother Martin, who was a pro soccer player. Steve's fanatical love for the game made him a dominant force in high school. And as a senior, he averaged 21 points, 9 rebounds, and 11 assists, leading his school to a state title. But when he told his best friends that he wanted to play in the NBA, the only thing he got was laughter. And unfortunately,
it be your own them not friends. How the fuck you gonna laugh at the nigga because he wanted to go to the NBA? Now, he obviously went to the NBA, you feel me? But at the time, did they know that he had that potential? No, but if they laugh at you, that's them not your friends. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Fortunately, all the college scouts felt the same. Nash's coach sent out over 30 scholarship applications to U.S. colleges, with highlight reels of Nash's brilliant passes and impeccable shooting. But all positives were trumped by prejudice, because Nash was a white point guard from Canada, and nobody believes that Canadians could play anything other than hockey. However, one college coach eventually did bite and made a trip to Canada to see Nash play. Immediately, Santa Clara coach Dick Davey fell in love with Nash's skills, even though he also said that Steve was the worst defensive player he'd ever seen. And the coach's assessment of Nash turned out to be spot on. Because as a freshman, Nash was a lights-out shooter, but he couldn't guard a chair. So Steve didn't get a lot of playing time. And he even contemplated quitting basketball to return to Canada. But thanks to his maniacal work ethic, Nash quickly improved. And as a freshman, he helped Santa Clara to produce the biggest upset of the 1993 NCAA tournament, after they beat the #2 seeded Arizona. After his sophomore season, Nash played for the Canadian national team in the 1994 World Cup, reaching the biggest turning point of his career thanks to Del Harris. Harris was an experienced coach who won NBA Coach of the Year, but that summer he was working as an advisor to the Canadian Basketball Federation. After one practice, he approached Nash. "Steve, you may not know it, but you are already an NBA player, and you have a chance to make a great career." For Nash, it was the biggest injection of self-confidence. So many people told me, come on, when I told them I wanted to play in the NBA. But when somebody from the NBA finally says you can, it means a lot. It means everything. In his junior year, Nash averaged 21 points and 6 assists on 45% shooting from three.
Nice stats.
He was named Conference Player of the Year. He wanted to enter the '95 NBA draft, but in everybody's eyes, Nash was still a scrawny white Canadian point guard. and his NBA future was still not certain. And it wasn't until his senior year when Nash dominated against Georgia Tech and their star point guard Stephon Marbury that the whole world finally saw his NBA potential. The Suns liked Nash and viewed him as a great backup for Kevin Johnson. So in the '96 draft, which would prove to be the greatest draft class of all time, Steve Nash was drafted with the 15th overall pick.
Y'all let me know, what draft class do y'all think was the best? Obviously, he said 96. I want to know, what draft class do y'all think is the best down below? Yes, Lord.
I'm hoping that I'm going to start a steady stream of players from Canada into the NBA.
But not everybody was happy with the Suns' draft choice. Phoenix fans booed Nash, feeling the management wasted a pick on a physically inferior point guard from a weak college. And at first, their predictions seemed to be right. In Steve's rookie year, he averaged just 3 points in garbage time minutes. Then, when the Suns traded for Jason Kidd, it looked like Nash's days in Phoenix were numbered. But then, Danny Ainge took over, and he wanted to pair Kidd with a great shooter.
I don't play because I'm not good enough. I'm not as good as Kevin Johnson right now or Jason Kidd. I know I just have to keep improving.
Nash finally saw an increase in playing time, mostly as a shooting guard. He was running off screens and hitting, instantly proving himself as one of the best long-range shooters in the game. However, the joy was short-lived because Suns management did not see starter potential in Nash. Phoenix sent Nash to the Mavericks. Nash's arrival in Texas coincided with the arrival of Dirk Nowitzki, and the two of them instantly became best friends.
Duo. Steve Nash and Dirk, nice duo. Yes, Lord, it is.
Came in this city, we both lived in the same apartment complex, and we hung out. You know, we didn't really know anyone else.
However, both of them struggled initially, and for 2 years in a row, the Mavs missed the playoffs. Nash's extreme unselfishness was a real problem for the Mavericks, and coach Don Nelson firmly believed that Nash's hesitancy was costing the Mavs wins. Nelson knew that Nash could be one of the NBA's premier shooters, but Steve was a purist. Ever since his soccer days, he always wanted to set up teammates, and Nelson couldn't convince Nash to look for his own shot. We had a situation where I demanded that he shoot at least 10 times a game. I threatened to fine him if he didn't.
Damn.
Then in 2001, Nash averaged more than 10 field goals per game, finishing the year with 15 points and 7 assists on average. Even more importantly, Dallas made the playoffs for the first time in 11 years, but they would lose to the Spurs in the second round. Over the next 3 years in Dallas, Nash and Nowitzki's two-man game became unstoppable for opposing defenses. Together with Michael Finley, the final piece of their big three, Dallas had the best offense in the NBA for 3 straight seasons. But in the playoffs, something was always missing. Poor defense, lack of rebounding, a bit of bad luck, and they would always lose before reaching the finals. After his 6th year in Texas, Nash hoped to agree to a long-term contract with Mark.
That was a hezzy, right?
Lack of 6th year in Texas,
that was a nice hezzy. I thought I was chipping for a little bit, but I wasn't.
But that didn't happen because Cuban didn't want to pay big money to a 30-year-old point guard with a bad back. So Nash returned to Phoenix, where he would team up with the coach who gave him all the freedom to showcase his genius. Mike D'Antoni was an offensive mastermind, and he was the first NBA coach to implement a spread pick-and-roll offense. This involved playing with 4 great three-point shooters on the floor, which is normal now, but revolutionary 20 years ago. The Suns played the most beautiful basketball in the NBA, with constant movement, dribble handoffs, and lots of shooting.
Pull up, smacking it, thing.
And shot the ball with a lot of time left on the shot clock, they got nicknamed 7 seconds or less Suns.
We played a style that was thought to be revolutionary at the time, but really we should have doubled down. And Mike said this before, we should have played faster, we should have played smaller, we should have shot way more threes.
And while D'Antoni was the mastermind behind this, it was all made possible because of Nash. Nash had 4 attributes that made him the ideal spread pick and roll conductor: great shooting, playmaking, decision-making, and finishing. Not to mention that in the history of the NBA, there wasn't a player who had a better one-handed pass than Nash. Most of his passes were one-handed, with either hand. And what made these passes special is the fact that he threw them directly from the hip, without
Nice.
changing the position of his body and the height of the dribble, so the defense didn't have a fraction of a second to
They didn't
react.
know they didn't
That
know what
wasn't
was going
the
on.
only thing that made Nash special. Thanks to his dexterity and footwork that were groomed by years of soccer and jump roping, it was also impossible to knock Nash off balance. There was a legendary story that Nash was able to keep balance while standing on a Pilates ball and simultaneously jump rope like prime Muhammad Ali. Steve would excel in any sport that requires hand-eye coordination. Apart from that, I don't think I've seen a basketball player with better balance in my life. D'Antoni. Because of all these attributes and great court vision, Nash became a master of dribble penetration, something he did better than any other point guard in NBA history.
Nice.
Nash was a pioneer of dribble probing, where he would keep his dribble alive in the paint and not immediately take the shot like other point guards. Nash would often maintain
opening.
his dribble in the paint to extend the period in which he commanded the opponent's attention, which created more opportunities for teammates to spring free. The move became known as Nashing.
It's like they don't even know. He finna just behind the back, bounce that motherfucker, boom, and they dunk that bitch like he just did.
And it's a legacy of Nash that is now commonly used by players like Steph Curry or Chris Paul. From 2004 to 2010, Phoenix finished top 2 in the league in offensive rating every season. And
Nice
Nash
pass.
led the NBA in assists.
One
5
bitch up and they
times.
just
But
slamming
what was
that
even
bitch in
more
there.
impressive than his passing was how insanely efficient Nash was. Between 2006 and 2010, Nash had 4 seasons with 50, 40, 90 shooting splits, not
Ooh-wee.
including the 2007 season where he shot 89.9% from the free throw line.
Nice.
That he needed just one more made free throw to make the 50, 40, 90 club again. Only 10 players in NBA history shot 50, 40, 90 for the season, but KD and Bird are the only players to do it 2 times, while Nash had 4 such
Nice.
seasons. With such phenomenal efficiency, it's a shame that Nash was always so focused about setting up teammates and didn't take more shots.
I was too conservative shooting the ball. Like, I should have walked into way more threes. I should have looked for more threes.
Steve never averaged 20 points per game, which is what probably hurt him in the Suns
Yeah.
playoffs. In 2005, Phoenix made the conference finals against the Spurs. Stoudemire averaged 37 and 10 in the series. Nash had 23 plus 10 assists, but Tim Duncan and the Spurs were simply too good on their way to an NBA championship. In 2006, the Suns lost Stoudemire because of a knee injury, and nobody expected them to go far. But Nash led them past Kobe and the Lakers, and then the Clippers to reach another conference
Hey.
finals, but they would only lose
Pull up.
again. This
Green
time to
bean.
Nash's best friend Dirk. In 2007, Amari returned to All-Star form, and this was the Suns' best chance to win it all. After they defeated Kobe again, they met their biggest nemesis, the Spurs, in an extremely tough series filled with cheap
The Spurs back then, crazy. The lineup was crazy. That was a championship team. A lot of teams back then were championship teams for sure. No cap.
fouls, elbows to the face, and controversy. Late in Game 4, Spurs' Robert Horry knocked Nash
Damn!
to the scorer's table at midcourt and was charged with a flagrant foul and ejected. The Suns won 104-98, tying the series at 2-2. Nash played phenomenally and finished the game with 24 points and 15 assists. The day
Nice.
after the game, the NBA announced that Horry would be suspended for 2 games for the flagrant foul against Nash. But what they also said shocked the Suns and the entire world. Because they left the bench after Horry's foul on Nash, Amari Stoudemire and Boris Diaw were also suspended
Wow.
1 game each. So, for the lesser offense, the Suns lost 2 players and the Spurs lost 1.
What was unfortunate?
That's fucking crazy, bro. That's crazy.
About both of them is that I think that Amari and Boris were more interested in coming to me
That's what I mean.
than instigating, right?
San Antonio won Game 5 in Phoenix 88-85, and then won Game 6 at home to clinch the series.
Man, what a terrible blow.
Rewatching
Terrible
it.
The following year, Phoenix acquired an aging Shaquille O'Neal as a last-ditch effort to battle with Duncan. But all this countermeasure did was a gentleman's sweep in the first round versus the Spurs. In 2010, the Suns made another conference finals, but by then they were too old and Nash retired without ever even making the finals, let alone a championship. I should have made Steve shoot more, D'Antoni said years later.
I told Steve Nash, and you should have shot more threes. I should have made you shoot more threes.
D'Antoni was absolutely right, and Nash's career could have been even better if he played in the modern NBA with a ton of three-point shooting.
Yeah.
Nash is the second greatest free throw shooter ever at 90.4%, behind only Steph Curry at 90.8%. Behind the arc, Nash shot 42.8%, which is the 11th best mark ever, ahead of Steph, who was number 12. And at 49% from the field, Steve is one of the rare point guards to ever shoot close to 50%. And he's come closest to shooting 50-40-90 for his entire career. Shaq could have won the MVP in 2005, and Kobe's 35 points per game could have won him the MVP in 2006. But Steve absolutely deserved to win because he was the best shooter and the best passer in the game simultaneously, something that no other player.
A lot of good passes, a lot of good rotation, things of that sort. You feel me?
Achieved before or since.
All right. Josh Mafia, that is the end of the video of how good was Steve Nash actually, you feel me? Y'all saw how good he was, you feel me? He was getting compared to Stephen Curry, a lot of players, you feel me? A lot of players as you've seen. But hey, y'all let me know your favorite player down below. It don't matter if it's from this era, back then. Whenever, you feel me? It don't matter whenever. Just let me know your favorite player down below in the comments. And y'all let me know your opinions on this video down below too. And let me know, did y'all fuck with Steve Nash? Cause me personally, I fuck with Steve Nash. You feel me? He's an amazing player. I feel like he should have deserved a ring, in my opinion. But obviously, I feel like he probably would have got a ring if he was shot more. I don't know. But he was an amazing player. I feel like he deserved a ring, in my opinion. But I feel like as like a player, Steve Nash, like he really deserved the ring, in my opinion. But it's like the team effort. You feel me? They all have to come together. But Josh Mafia, if you have made it in the video, I really appreciate you. And other than that, my goal is to build a big community of brothers and sisters, which I call Josh Mafia. But other than that, the grind don't stop. It is literally 5 o'clock in the morning. It's literally 5 o'clock in the morning, but that's not gonna stop me from grinding. You feel me? But other than that, I love y'all as family. And if you feel me, react to anything else, put it down below too. And other than that, I will see y'all on the next video. I love y'all, Josh Mafia.
Falling, dreaming, talking.